it's Omicron. Falcon hates puns and thinks that they're all wrong. One's American and one is an Aussie. Talking about StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Hello and happy podcast day, FalPal.
Hello and happy podcast day, sir. Oh, am I blurry? Let's see if we can fix that.
Well, now you're just gone.
Yep. And ta-da!
Ta-da! Slightly
Magic. Still pretty bad, but whatever. I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah. No.
Yo. All right. So again, we are back with more nerdy topics like Warhammer and anime and StarCraft and stuff. And I am excited to be here.
There is so much StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
In the week when we were gone, there was the World Championship Series. Esports World Cup is what it's called, not WCS anymore. Hasn't been WCS for a little while.
Nope.
Would you like to take a guess at how many maps were played, like across all the series?
For the Esports World Championship?
Yeah.
How many different maps?
Yeah.
Or you mean like individual? Like
If you look at all of the matches across all the brackets, how many games were played?
okay, got it. Oh, 200.
No, but honestly, you're not far off. 153.
Nice.
That is
not. I'm very proud. That's a lot.
Huge. It is so many. Guess how many of them were PvPs?
Oh, 6.
0.
0 PvPs the whole time.
There, out of 153, 41 were TVTs.
Okay.
So it's nearly a third of the entire tournament was TVTs.
There were a lot of Terran representation. Yeah.
Yeah. There were 7 ZVZs. So not a lot of those.
Really?
And
I'm surprised it's that few. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had, who do we have? We had Dark Serral, Raynor Solar, and that might be it. And between them, that's 7 maps. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Well, good. If you hate mirror matches, then this was the tournament for you.
Except for
Except for all the
Yeah,
TVT.
yeah.
Which, I don't know. I think TVT might be my favorite mirror matchup, just because the early game is weird and the possibility of battle cruisers at the end if it goes long enough.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not arguing that TVT is the preferred mirror, but it's still a mirror.
But it's like saying this is my favorite kind of dog poop. Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Nobody puts dog on the roses, you know.
No. I mean, I watched very few full TVTs. I'm going to say that as I was going through the VODs for all 6 days of this thing.
Fair enough.
I mean, I did watch some early stuff. I was interested to see what different compositions people were going for their first push. And then, like, if that didn't win, it moved on into, like, boringness. I was like, all right, let's skip to the end, see if we got any battle cruisers here.
Right.
That was about it. I did not notice there were no PvPs. That's crazy.
Not a single one.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to start at the end, or what do you want to do here?
Let's start at the end. Let's just work our way backwards.
Okay, so I just want to say Clem's run here might be the most impressive run I've ever seen from like a premier tournament where everybody's here. It's a big prize pool. Everybody is working so hard. Like, I don't know if this is fair or not, but I really felt like players were playing better and more focused than they were, like, compared to the last DSL tournament. And I have to imagine a lot of that is because the prize pool was a lot bigger.
Right.
Is that fair?
You think the pros took it a little bit more seriously when it was?
I do.
They could win 400,000 versus 40,000.
Yes.
Actually, not only that, Clem, who took the whole thing, actually didn't win $400,000. He won $450,000 because he was also awarded most valued player. So he got an extra 50K.
Well, yeah. Wait.
If you
There was no chance the player that won this whole thing was not going to be the most valuable player. Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know. I don't know what the stipulation around how that was awarded, but if you look at the prize money, there is the MVP award, and it's an extra 50K.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, it would be hilarious if they're like, man, Cyril played really well, except against Clem. He gets the MVP award.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is probably an award that the organizers set up for like team games and then just applied to everything.
You know, you're probably entirely correct about that. They're like, this would be a cool award for Counter-Strike Go. And then they're like, but what if we put it in all the other games? And someone's like, great, and didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And Clem's like, I'll take it. I'm on board. So look at this. So Clem effectively goes 3-0 over Classic, 3-2 over Raynor, because, I mean, the Clem-Raynor rivalry has been going on for years and years. It might be my favorite matchup in all of StarCraft, is watching those two play.
Really?
But then he goes 3 over Cyril, 4 over Hero, 5 over Cyril again.
Right.
Like, come on. And I mean, we talked about this in the Discord server, but like Cyril desperately trying everything, especially in that final best of 9. Like,
right.
We've talked about this. Ultras are bad because ghosts exist. Broodlords are bad because ghosts and Thors exist. He's out there making Broodlords and making Ultras because the Hydraling Bane Viper thing that has been so consistent for him and many Zergs over the last year or so was just not working against Clem at all. And Cyril was like, that's what I do. It always works. What is happening? It was crazy.
Yeah, so what was the memery that I put into the tournament channel? Ultras? Nah, there's ghosts. Birds? Nah, there's ghosts. Infestors? Nah, there's ghosts. Vipers? Nah, there's ghosts. I could have kept going. There's Lurkers? Nah, there's ghosts. Right? And it's like, well, okay, but Lingbane Hydra is also quite good. But it's like, okay, you need to get us around. You need to be on creep. How do you do that against someone who's got like 10 command centers and can scan everywhere and is constantly clearing your creep? And you can only engage from one direction. Because if you take the fight off creep, Lingbane is just going to melt to like Widow Mines and Marines and Marauders. Like it's...
Yeah, and Liberators and Siege Tanks. Yeah, totally. And sensor towers too. Like, a bunch of these games, there are like 6 or 7 sensor towers on the map. Right. It's like it's a TVT. But Clem's just like, no, you are not sneaking up on me. Screw you, Cyril. If you want to attack me, I will see it coming. To the point where I was like, are sensor towers OP? Do we need to nerf sensor towers? It felt so bad. Like, I'm a Zerg main. I love Cyril. I have bias here. But it's a different experience if Cyril loses this best of 9 by like 5 games to 2. Right? And I'm like, all right, Clem played better. I'm down. But for Cyril to be flailing so bad in this matchup, I'm just like, do things need to change? And that's how you know a run was great.
Does Zerg need to be buffed?
Well, considering what Clem did to Protoss as well, like maybe Terran needs a bit of a nerf.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what the good runs do. Beyond back in 2014 when he was wrecking every Zerg player he played, it was like, we gotta nerf Terran because Beyond is too good.
Well, we need to nerf specifically the Reaper.
Yes.
Beyond is too good.
Yes. And I almost feel like that's what this is. And again, it's not, but that's the tricky thing. Clem wasn't like Reaper good unit. He wasn't like Thor good unit. He was like, everything Terran has, I can mold it into this unstoppable machine that is unbreakable.
He was multitask good unit and being faster than just anyone else good unit, you know?
Yes. And like Artosis made this point in the final in a couple of the games. He's like, Terrans don't do this. Clem attacks you, and then you hold it off, and then he's back half a second later, and then he's on another point half a second later. He's like, Terrans don't do this. like Maru and TY and Innovation, there are times in their games where they're like, okay, we'll sit back, we'll macro up, we'll get some upgrades. And Clem's like, fuck you. You are not getting any rest in this game. Rah, 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 rah.
Right.
And like, yeah, you can probably stop it for 10 minutes, but then something gets through and a base dies and everything starts to snowball and out of control and then you're dead. It is insane how he plays.
Yeah, it's wild. There were times where he would have like a little poke around like the third or the fourth base, and Cyril would just send a big clump of units up there to kill it. He'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna pick up and hang out by the next base over and wait 20 seconds and come back in, or drop the main. It's like the drops and the pokes don't go home; they just stay out of your vision, and then they stay there until you're looking somewhere else.
I guess maybe corruptors?
Yeah, I was thinking like you get a couple of corruptors out just to push medevacs away, stop them from like dropping the main.
Yeah, and make Clem think twice about just going and dropping in the main. Like if there's corruptors out, you're like, I actually got to scan, I got to plan this route, right?
Right.
I mean, he obviously made corruptors because he made brood lords. I don't know if he ever used corruptors as corruptors, though. You know?
Right. I think the answer is swarm hosts.
No, it is not. Dark, stop trying to make swarm hosts work against Terran.
He did it
I
again.
can't believe he did it again. I know. At the Esports World Championship, he did it again.
Oh.
And even I think it was Zombie Grub was like, he's doing it again. He keeps trying to make this work against Terran and it never works. What is your deal?
Absolutely no idea. Especially with like the story that they were pushing, that he's like, he's a new dad. He really wants to give good results because he's been like taking time off from like helping with the family to like really study and practice up and get ready for this tournament. And then he comes out and he's like, I'm going to make swarm hosts against Terran.
Yeah.
And, like, on the one hand, what the hell are you doing? On the other hand, he did get to the Final Four, right? Like,
sure. No, he did Swarm Hosts once.
Right.
You're allowed to dick around a little bit in these tournaments. You can do something stupid in one game as long as you play normal the rest of the time. Right. It's not like he got to the Final Four doing Swarm Hosts in every TVZ he played. It was insane. No. This is not what happened here.
Right.
Anyway, dude, Clem, and I mean, they talked about this. They interviewed him at the end, and they're like, "You've been playing since you were 10." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, like, this is our generation of StarCraft 2 players who started when they were prepubescent, 10-year-olds.
10?
Like, there's,
I mean,
yeah, whatever. 10 years old. I'm just gonna say 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think they even consider you a preteen at that point. You are just a child when you are 10 years old. Okay. But this is the generation that does this. Like everything everything that starts new, right? Mm-hmm. Has a time when everybody's new at it and everybody's learning and everybody picked it up at the same time. Mm-hmm. Right? But then you have a time that you reach where children get born into the thing. Mm-hmm. And then can just reach a level that, the people that learned it when they were 25 just can't,
Right. The human brain learns something, learns, its capacity for learning is exceptionally different when you're younger, right? Like, the ability to grasp nuances of language when you're a child is hugely influential by, what you were listening, what your parents were speaking when you were a baby. And so... Right. Being a player who was like, oh, I'm 10 playing this game, and now is 22, he is going to just know it differently through no matter how much I practice, he's always going to be better than me.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out something that whoever wrote Clem's Liquipedia page has written this sentence. He has played with several races over the years, but has been playing Terran lately.
That is untrue. He's been Terran for at least the last 8 years.
And there aren't several races to choose from.
No. I mean, no. You can really stretch the definition and say 3, I guess, but
Yeah, he's been playing all 3 races, but has been doing yeah. I don't
Yeah,
like.
everybody
I don't like that
plays all 3 races. Nobody's like, I've never played Terran, never. I'm only Zerg. It's like, no. Serral, Terran, and Protoss are abjectly terrifying, I'm sure.
Right.
And every time anybody off races for any reason at that level, you're like, oh, of course you're insanely good with this race. I've never seen you play before. What did I expect, right?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, I was in the chat watching these final games, and I
Yeah.
mostly listened to all of the other playoff brackets and stuff at work. I just listened to it. I wasn't watching the games, so I haven't technically seen many of the games here. But since I was watching the last ones, I'm like, all right, I want to spend my fun bucks accordingly with the Twitch chat bets.
Uh-huh.
I've been doing so well. Every now and then I'd pull out my phone, make a little bet on like Maru Dark, and I'd nail it. I had gone from like you start off with like 200 to 20k by the time the final 4 came, right? Like I'd won all my bets.
Yeah, going great. Did you, before Final Four, did you pick Serral or Clem when they played?
No, I didn't bet on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't get to it. I picked right with Serral over Dark. I was like, Serral's gonna dumpster Dark. There's no chance, right?
Right.
I then bet with my heart, right? I looked at a Ligalac, and it was like 52% for Clem over Hero. I'm like, that's close. But I'd rather see Hero in the finals than Clem. I'm gonna bet on Hero. Absolutely lost all my points.
And then Clem was just like, no.
Right, 4-0. Boop. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay. A Ligalac, it said it was an 8% difference. You know, 4-0 is a little heavy for an 8% difference, but it's, you know, whatever. Would you like to take a guess at what a Ligalac says Clem versus Serral should look like?
After the 3-0 that Clem beat Serral with previously in this very tournament.
I don't think a Ligalac updates that quickly, but
it totally should, because that was an enlightening series.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's got the same stats as it had the other day, so I don't think it's updated yet.
It's not updated. Okay.
Right. Like,
okay. Serral, 78%.
Serral winning 5-4, or just like winning, sorry, not 5-4. 89.14%.
Oh my gosh.
It gave the chance of a 0.5 to Clem at 0.28%.
But like,
so I don't know if
that's the thing. That's the thing. Clem shows up on the scene as an adorable baby child, and we're like, this is adorable. This kid's good at StarCraft. And then he gets better, and we're like, holy crap, this kid is good.
Right.
But then he reached a point where it's like, okay, he's really good, but he never comes through when it counts. Right. He can't win the premier one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for a long time, he was just at this level of Clem can't win it all. Again, he was like 20 years old. Like, it's way too early to say that.
Right.
But like, once you reach a level of like elitism in anything and you can't quite get over the hump ever, people start ragging on you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it totally makes sense.
Well.
Oh. But yeah, I mean, he just leveled up for this tournament, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have picked Clem either.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just weird. Like, if he'd won this and like it was like 4-2 versus Hero and like 3-1 versus Serral and then like 5-3 versus Serral in the finals, it'd be like, okay, this is Clem. He's always been this good. He just put it together a little bit, got up over that hump. Right. Now he's here. But he just decapitates everybody except for Rainer on his way to this thing. And it's a massive leap out of nowhere. Like, I can't think of anything similar to this. Because like all of Maru's dominant runs came when Maru was Maru. Right? It wasn't like Maru's this new kid. He's figuring stuff out, and then bam, he crushes everybody immediately. You know what I mean?
I think you could, like, the only thing you can really compare this to is 2018 Serral, where he's like, okay, 2017 Serral, who's Serral? Nobody really knows. He's there. He's hanging out like Rad 16. And then he's like, I'm going to win every event this year and not drop a single map. Right?
That's the other one. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
And I always say, when I was casting StarCraft back then, it was Cyril and Sordo were basically the same player to me. I was like, they have the same play style. Neither of them can really put it together. Both of them rely too heavily on lings through the mid game. It's stupid. Why do they keep doing this? They lose all the time. And I was like, whatevs. And then Cyril's just like, I guess I'll figure out how to play this game for real now and turn into an absolute monster. Yeah.
Right.
But, I mean, that's even more abrupt because Cyril went from guy no one took seriously. People took Clem seriously for the last few years. Like, people like watching Clem play. He would take maps off Cyril. He'd beat Raynor. Like, he was great. But Cyril was just like a nobody who put it together and launched himself into the stratosphere. So, yeah, that's the comparison for sure.
So, yeah.
Wow.
I'm just looking at the bracket. I'm like, okay, Clem literally only lost 2 maps this entire tournament, right?
Yes.
And he lost them to Raynor, which is Zerg. I want to know, did Cyril watch those 2 games?
Right.
Because Clem beat Raynor 3-2 to go and fight Cyril. Did Cyril not watch those games from that? Like, Clem literally just lost against Zerg a little bit, and then it gets dumpstered 3-0. You know, did he not watch those games? Did he not go back and re-watch those games for the final?
Right. I mean, not doing it before that best of 5, I can kind of understand because you're like, it's Clem. I always beat him when it matters.
True.
I'm not worried about it. Raynor give him a hard time. I'm sure I can beat him too, right?
Right.
But yeah, after you get 3-0'd, then go back and look at the Raynor series and be like, what did Raynor do here? And I'm trying to remember. There was so much StarCraft, Omicron.
It was so much.
It's all melting my brain trying to remember anything. I need to go back and watch. I guess the replay pack is out. I need to go back and watch those Raynor games and see how anybody took a map off of Clem in August of 2024 because apparently no one else was capable of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I was just looking at the maps, and it's like, okay, Raynor won Oceanborn and Golden Aura, and then like he played those with Cyril, and it's not like the maps helped.
Right. Not a map thing at all. Were they shorter games?
I don't know. They don't have like map time on the Legalike for how long the map was. So I'd have to go back and like look at them.
Yeah. I mean, I can look at replay size real quick here. Hang on a second.
Yeah, that's a good point.
2024 August. What a great event. Holy smokes. Was it the knockout? No, it was before the knockout bracket. It was in the...
It was...
group stage
Group
B?
B.
Okay.
Upper bracket.
The Raynor Clem. Found it.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, these are macro games. 360 kilobytes, 400 kilobytes. Yeah.
Ghost
I mean,
River
okay,
and
they're...
Ocean. Oh, not Golden Aura. Excuse me. Ghost River. I said a Golden Aura.
Golden Aura. Ghost River is tiny, so that's a rush of some kind. Who won that one?
Raynor.
Okay,
Ghost River.
so that's... I mean, I just want to say that's a Roach Ravager push that won, but like Cyril tried that against Clem and got absolutely murdered.
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
But like nothing about this tells me that they were short games, because that's what I was wondering. Like maybe Raynor had some really specific like 2-base builds that really worked for him that Cyril didn't try. I don't know.
I don't think Clem did a single 2-base push, right? I think he went 3-base every game. Maybe one of those games he did like the Oliveira 8 racks, but that's a 3 CC build as well. So.
It is, yeah. I mean, yeah, in the final, Cyril busts out this build, this Roach Ravager kind of taxiing the queens to the front build that he's done a million times, and Artosis was like, yeah, he's been killing Terran players on the ladder and in Premier tournaments with this all year. Like, no one can stop this. It is incredibly difficult.
He did this against Maru earlier in this tournament, and I think Dark did this against Maru in GSL to win.
Right. So it's a good build.
Yeah.
And then Clem's just like, I know what this is. Sniffs out the Dropper Lord, kills it with all 3 queens. And then just the roaches can't hang because roaches kind of suck in certain situations. And that's it. Like, Cyril's dead. And it's just like, Nobody does this. Nobody does this.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm curious to see if he can keep it up, but like nothing about this tells me it's a flash in the pan, right? Nothing about this tells me that Clem's going to fall apart now. Like, it's
Yeah.
not an Oliveira thing where he never even really gets back there, you know?
Well, I don't think that's really fair to say to Oliveira.
Has he made it to like a Final Four of anything since he won?
I want to say he has gotten close. Let me find him.
All right.
Oliveira. Nope, not coffee. I just looked for the Chinese flag next to the name and I nearly clicked coffee. I'm like, nah.
Different thing.
Different thing. So, ESL Spring, 3 to 4.
Oh, okay. So that's a top 4 finish.
ESL Winter, 5 to 8.
Nope. Doesn't count.
I think 5 to 8 is pretty close, right? Like if you're
close.
top 8, you're top 8, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying top 4. Look, man, if you're a world champion, I need you back in the top 4 sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing. For the longest time with WCS, there was always like this curse where the player, like Rogue, would win, and then everyone would have like a bunch of Rogue replays to study, and then Rogue would not win the next GSL, and it happened every year.
Yeah, again, I'm not talking about... I don't need Oliveira to win every Premier tournament in 2024. I need him to make the Final Four. That's it. That's all I'm asking for here. Top 8 is not good enough.
But I'm just saying that historically, the people who win the World Championship do not go on to continue to win everything except for Cyril. Obviously, he changed that. But like for ages, that's what happened.
It's true.
I'm not surprised it happened again, right?
Sure. Not everybody can be Cyril.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, not to get on a Cyril tangent, but part of it is because Cyril's level up just involved him playing a defensive style where you could not slow him down economically, and he turned into a giant macro monster, and then you died. So, like, you don't... I'm studying Cyril's builds where he doesn't really attack me for 10 minutes and just sits there and like rebuffs every harassment attempt of mine. And I can't get any economic damage on him. And he's on 10 bases and I can't kill any hatcheries. And then he just rolls over me. That's not like this build I can study and figure out, you know?
Right, but like the way someone plays is still in the replays. Like you can still work things out.
Yeah.
It's not just like, how do I stop this one build? Does it help that Oliveira did go on to win the ESL Masters Regional for Asia?
I mean,
Twice?
no.
3 times?
That's nice. Yeah, I'm not arguing he's not the best player in Asia. He's definitely the best player in Asia.
But you wanted him to win things. I think those counts as things. They're Premier tournaments.
No, that does not count.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, they counted as major tournaments.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, enough about Oliveira. Yeah, but again, that's the thing. Cyril, since 2017, has been an unstoppable macro machine that no one's been able to deal with. And then Clem just like, what if every engagement I have with Cyril, I get a 2-to-1 value on that for the whole game?
More than. There was one of those games, like I think one of the longer games, they showed the resource value, and it was, I must be misremembering, but it was like 20k resources lost for Cyril, 2,500 for Reyna. Right? Like,
Oh my gosh.
It was insane value for, no, I said Reyna, for Clem, excuse me.
Okay, yes. Yeah, and yeah, again, in that final, there's one of those games, Artosis is like, at the 10-minute mark, it's like, okay, look at the resources lost, it's 2-to-1 in favor of Clem. Really good. Then like the 25-minute mark, he's like, let's look at it again. It's still 2-to-1!
Right.
Nobody does this against Cyril. Nobody. You might get some good value at the start when the banelings are slow, right? And like, you're just trying to deal with lings and queens and stuff. But once Cyril's ramped up and he has everything, to consistently go 2-to-1 with resources lost on him in every engagement on average for 25 minutes. It's nuts. It is so difficult to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm expecting a lot from Clem here at this point.
Well, I would love to be able to point to what we've got to look forward to for Clem next. There's no upcoming tournaments listed in Wikipedia. There's nothing.
Of course, there's nothing.
Yeah. So look out for the next online tournament that he plays in. I guess. That he always wins anyway.
Right. Which we expect, and it's not exciting at all.
Right.
Maybe he'll play Rainer though. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good. Did you watch? Who was it that I told you was fun?
Showtime Gumio.
Showtime Gumio Game 1.
Oh my god. Dudes drop microwing Marauders.
2 Marauders.
Yeah.
Against 4 Stalkers, a handful of probes, and he has like 2 limbs.
Yeah. That's so good.
Such a wild game. Like, there's base trading going on. Showtime puts down like 6 Nexuses just to like around the map. He's like, okay, I'm gonna mine from this for 5 minutes. I'm gonna build a gateway, a cybernetics core, warp it a couple stalkers, and then have to move on, and then do it all over again 6 times. The entire time, Gumio's like, I think I've got this with the units I've got. I'm gonna leave 3 command centers and 3 orbitals and 1 command center just floating off the corners of the map because
Marauder, good unit.
Marauder's good, yeah. Marauders are good. Extended range liberators also really good. But
really, really good. Medevac, good unit.
Mm-hmm. I feel like though he could have landed those and started mining a lot sooner than he did, and it would have been a much closer game. But he didn't, and that's the fun.
I mean, that's Gumio, man. He will go for the fun sometimes when it's not even the right thing to do. Yeah. Oh man, that is good.
So it
was such a fun game.
Game recommendation for everyone to go and watch.
Yeah. Replay pack is available. Falcon will probably cast that game at some point.
Excellent.
Yeah. Woof. All right. So yeah, congrats to Clem. Like nothing but excitement for him. Expect good things from him.
Yeah. I want to complain about one thing with the Esports World Cup, which is they do this like club championship thing as well. So like Clem, because he's Team Liquid, 1,000 points for this club championship thing. And if you come number 1, you like the club gets like 7 million.
Yeah.
It was halfway through like day 3 of this where they interrupt and be like, hey, just so you know, the club championships has been mathematically resolved before some of the tournaments have even started. Like PUBG hasn't started when they did it. Like StarCraft 2 is still going on because Team Falcons has won so much that like the next closest, if they were to win everything that they're in, couldn't get enough points to catch up.
Hot dang. Okay.
So I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, they got 1,000 points for winning Call of Duty Warzone. All right, that's probably a big esport. I get it. They got 1,000 points for coming first in Free Fire.
I don't know what that is.
That is a mobile game.
Okay.
They also got 1,000 points. Not 1,000, 600 points in MLBB, also a mobile game. And I'm like,
okay, hang on. Google says that Free Fire is the most downloaded mobile game globally and has 1 billion downloads on the Google Play Store.
Sure, I've never heard of it.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But we don't do mobile games. I'm just saying.
But
it's a big deal, apparently.
It's apparently a big deal, but like,
yeah.
If you said like, what's the most played mobile game? I'm probably gonna say Fortnite.
Yeah, Candy Crush maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But it's just like and it turns out that this Team Falcons is Saudi owned, I believe.
Oh no, conflict of interest.
Yeah, or at least based in Saudi, right? And it's like, okay, did they just happen to pick up a bunch of players and then host an event where there's like a ton of games nobody's ever heard of to play in, and be like, well, we can.
Yeah, but they could just give money to him anyway. Like, nobody cares. You don't have to make a tournament for this.
Right, but you can't give them the prestige of winning a tournament just do them. But if you have them win a tournament, then you can.
That's true. That's
And
a good
like
point.
they won it like halfway through. Here's the thing: I don't know when the Esports World Cup officially started and when it officially ends, but like they won it through halfway through the event that I care about. You know?
Right.
Ridiculous. I feel like there's shenanigans going on. That's all.
That's fair. You can have those suspicions. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. So that's why. So when Clem won, they're like, "All right, so you got points at Team Liquid,
Yeah.
solidifying their second place." And I'm like, "Not
were-
challenging for first? No, apparently."
They were already second place. I think heavily second
Yeah.
place. But yeah, they're like, oh, maybe you'll get a bonus. And Clem's like, that would be nice, but I don't think so.
Huh. Well, that's okay. You know what? It was an amazing event. I'm glad they hosted StarCraft 2. I think a ton of the games we got were incredible. I'm fine with it.
Yep. Hopefully they'll come back next year and continue to throw money at the scene. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah. Oh, did you watch the free-for-all with the casters before the final?
I did, yeah.
First of all, I like the idea of a free-for-all map where eventually a timer runs out and whoever holds the center for a certain amount of time just wins instead of having these long, drawn-out, turtley battles where you don't have a victor for like an hour and a half.
It's Big Game Hunters, yeah. Well, it's just Hunters, apparently. Like, it's a modified version of Big Game Hunters where if you hold the center...
After a certain point.
After a certain point. If you haven't killed everyone, if you hold the center...
For a certain amount of time, then you win.
Yeah.
So Rotterdam wins because he is an observer in the barest edge of this circle in observation mode.
Yep.
But friggin' the Muslim is like, he's got his carrier group with an observer in the carrier group fighting in the center and like pushing away enemy stuff. And like he is right there. I don't know how that obs didn't see
the other one,
Roddy's obs, and have those carriers kill it instantly. I do not understand how that happened.
I've absolutely no idea. All I know is that they didn't. You know.
Total throw.
And then they go, okay, the circle's empty. We all just leave, and then it's on like 8 seconds, and Roddy wins.
And like, Zombie Grub didn't have any detection. Great, thumbs up. Didn't scan. Probably should have. Whatever. Didn't have a Raven in her battlecruiser group. Okay. But there was an observer for the Muslim. I don't understand. That's all. It just bugs me a lot. I mean, not that it mattered. It was for bragging rights, and it was apparently for a Slayer's Boxer t-shirt, which I thought was funny for a StarCraft 2 event.
Yeah.
I don't think Boxer ever played StarCraft 2.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Boxer vs. Scarlet is like the big, like most famous game of all time, where there's like...
No, that's Bomber.
Is it?
Yep.
No, but Boxer totally played. I know he did. I've heard that name. It was a long time ago. Yeah, he did. Played for SK Telecom, yeah. He played from 2010 to 2012.
Okay, fair enough. You're right. 2010 November to 2012 January. So like a year and a half.
He's 43 now. Whoa.
Yeah. He's one of the original Brood War legends. Like, he's an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hero in the finals, they were like, Clem, go easy on Hero. It's his birthday. Oh, poor Hero.
Man, Boxer never did anything.
No.
He only ever finished, like, his best finish is a 3rd place finish at MLG 2011. The rest of the time, it's like these 13th to 24th finishes. Huh.
Named by MTV in 2006 as one of the 10 most influential video gamers of all time.
Yep.
That's, I feel like, not true. Sorry.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
I don't think, like, given his results that you just said he has, of which he has none, he made 20,000 in total prize money, this says, but this might just be StarCraft
in StarCraft 2. He made $150,000 playing Brood War.
That's nice. That's not nothing. I'll grant you that. but I don't
Oh
know if
my
that
gosh.
trivia belongs on his StarCraft 2 page.
He got 2 first places in 2001 OSL championships, another first place at WCT 2001, another first place at WCT 2002, another first place at IBM NBC. Oh, that's a team league. I don't care about that. That's a huge run from 2001 to 2003. So yeah, I mean, he's out there when Brood War is 3 years old, just like kicking butt and taking names. I mean, that was his whole thing.
Fair enough.
Anywho. Anywho.
I mean, yeah, cool.
Cool.
Let's move on. I think we're done with StarCraft.
Yes, I think we are.
What are we moving on to?
I say Garro.
Garro?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Nathaniel Garro, back from the Eisenstein. Last we saw him, he was chilling on Luna, talking to Malkador a little bit.
Yep. Not being trusted by anyone as a former member of the Death Guard because his Primarch went heretical.
Yeah, which, fair. Can't say not
100%.
fair.
Yep.
Okay, so this book was actually it's a collection of short stories that got written to read like one big novel. Did you definitely feel like it still felt like, okay, here are 4 short stories smushed into a book?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Okay. Cool. I thought it was just me for a minute.
No, because there's definitive beginnings and ends to each story. So it's like, yeah, definitely that's what's going on here. I was okay with it, though. It didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me, but I feel like, given how many anthologies the Horus Heresy series has, having one more would not have hurt them,
Yeah.
Pretending this is a standalone novel is...
It's a weird move.
It's a weird choice, yeah.
Concur. So yeah, I mean, a lot of this is just basically Garro trying to figure out who he is after, his Primarch turns heretical, etc. He's got his loyalty to the Emperor and to the Imperium, obviously. And Malkador the Sigillite's like, yo, you need some stuff to do. What if I give you stuff to do? And Garro's like,
okay,
I do need some stuff to do. You're right.
That is kind of how it goes, and that it's mostly like recruitment and some spy stuff a little bit.
Yeah. I do love the concept. We've talked about this before with the Alpha Legion, but this tech that's like takes a hulking space marine and it's like, now they are regular human size and you can't really see them.
Shroud.
Sure.
It's like, okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
The TARDIS is bigger on the inside. Space Marines look like regular people.
Yeah. Made me laugh every time.
So I'll be honest. I think the takeaway from this book, the important thing of note, is, and I think the better book, is the one where he goes to Istvan 3.
Yeah.
And finds Cerberus. I think that's the really good thing, because I had not read this book before, and when I got to later books, I was like, the fuck is Garviel Loken doing here?
Oh, okay. That's funny. Well, yeah, because they're like, okay, here's a Space Marine on Istvan 3 that's like feral and his mind is broken, and we're not going to tell you who he is.
Nope.
I'll play this guessing game. Just tell me later. And then they did. It was great. I'm going to say I was not taken by surprise at the fact that these random human survivors on Istvan 3 were corrupted. Right?
No.
Like,
I feel
like Garro even says, like, how in the hell are there random people here?
And they're like, we were in a Titan, and Titans are sturdy. And I'm like, okay, that checks out. And I'm like, wait a minute, weren't the Titans... If I flash back to any of the 60 times in the last books that we've had Istvan 3 sequences, weren't the Titans on Horus's side?
Right. That's a good point. And they're like, and then it got killed, but we went underground and we were in like the subway system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So That's yeah. So like when the psyker, what's his name again with Garro? Rubio's like, let me investigate these bodies, and he's like, weird disease signature here, and Garro's like, holy shit, I know what that is. I was like, yeah, it tracks. I'm on board. And the early part of this book, again, a collection of stories. The thing, like I don't want to say the motto, the theme. The theme of the book is like, who can you trust in this time of heresy and betrayal?
Sure, yeah.
And a whole bunch of times, it's like, people you thought you could trust, you cannot trust. White scars? Nope. Definitely not. Random, regular, human-looking people with injured and women and children among them? Also, no.
Even if those random men and women and children are like, the Emperor protects, right? And like,
yeah,
like playing to your sensibilities of faith, that your burgeoning sensibility of faith.
Yeah. So I thought they'd do more of that as the book went on, but they kind of abandoned the concept.
Right.
They really draw the lines of like good guys, bad guys for the last couple books, and I'm like, all right, this is a little bit less interesting. Because, that's a lot. Again, the other theme is that Garro, he was so certain when he was in his legion under Mortarion. He knew what he was supposed to do. He had a purpose. Everything was black and white for him. And now everything's muddled. And just even the fact that you don't know who you can trust at all, ever, at any point in the rest of your life.
He truly is a gray knight.
But like, I don't know that he ever embraced it. Like, he never goes like, Malkador, you can't trust anyone with this. Right?
He does, like, the last bit, he definitely is, like, acting in a way, like, when he's looking for Euphrates, he's like, I've not told Malkador where I am. I don't know that I can trust him with this.
Right, but he sure trusts Euphrates, and he sure trusts Cinderman.
Right. He trusts them.
Implicitly. Like, 100%.
Right.
And I'm just like, have you learned any lessons, Garro? I need you to be more, like, sus about everything that's going on.
Kirill and Euphrates were with him on the Eisenstein, right? Like, he went through all of that with them, right?
I didn't say you can trust people you're with on the Eisenstein. I said you can't trust anyone.
I feel like prior experiences give you a pass. It's when you're meeting new people and you can't determine their loyalties. That's when you're most vulnerable to not trusting anyone.
Yeah, fine. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Probably right. Anyway, I don't know. I just needed Garro to be more like peering around corners and like really grilling people that he's meeting and having to work with and stuff, but that doesn't really happen.
No.
Maybe he can't. Like, maybe that's part of the problem with Garro, is like, even he should be insanely distrusting of everyone. Like, that's not how he's wired, and he just can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, part of the Space Marines is that they're very hardwired to, like, accept authority and be like, okay, my boss says to do a thing, I go do the thing. That's how this works.
Yeah, they're hardwired for it. Right.
Yeah.
Like, literally. Like, that grown for this. Okay, they're not that grown. But... mentally conditioned? I don't know.
Psychically, like
100%.
Subliminal messaging, all that kind of stuff. It's all in there. Totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so basically the story is Garro trying to find purpose. He's like, that saint lady that was with me on the Eisenstein, she always knows what to do when I talk to her. So he tries to find her. And she's just like traveling the galaxy, spreading the gospel of the God Emperor, which again is hilarious because the heretical Primarchs want her dead, and like the Imperium doesn't want her doing this either.
Right.
So impressive. She's managed to stay independent as long as she has.
Right.
Yeah. Because man, like the only people that like her are the direct believers in the faith that she's preaching. If you're not one of those people, you are out on this lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like even at the end, Melkor's representative shows up and is like, "We're taking her into custody."
Yeah.
And Garro's like, "I could fight you."
But I don't think so. I'm kind of.
And Euphrates like, "You idiot! Don't do that." And he's like, "Fine."
She underlines in that moment the exact reason why I don't like overly religious-y characters with 40k, because she goes, "Didn't you ever consider that maybe it's the Emperor's plan that I go with them?" And I'm like, "Have you considered that maybe it's the Emperor's plan that you don't?" You know. And like, if you ever read anything with the Black Templars, that is what they are like the entire time. They're like, "No, it's the Emperor's plan that I go off and do this thing," and it's like, come on, guys, just follow orders for once. Like, it's Guilliman telling you to do a thing. He's the Emperor's son, and they're like, "No, I got high and had a vision, and that's the Emperor telling me to do this thing."
Yeah.
God damn it, guys.
Wibbly wobbly, faithy waithy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Oh, and then Garro's so badass, he defeats, like, literal demons without his armor.
Yeah.
Like, flamethrower, demonic gun from hell. He's just like, I'm gonna tank this a lot of times. Not just once. I will tank this thing a whole lot.
Yep.
Like, the first time it's super badass. Because, like, he's got the demon by the ropes. And the demon's like, "I was like you once. You were not too different. Like, we're not too different, you and I." And Garro's like, "Well, what?" And it like throws him back a little bit. And the guy's like, "Bam, I shoot you in the face with my demon fire weapon." And Garro's like, "What if I walked through the demon tainted, obviously magic flames
Right.
and crushed you again?" I'm like, "All right, Garro, and I are just showing off." Yeah, it almost felt like the whole point of that was to be like, Space Marines are not just their armor. Let's remind you that there's a lot more going on here than just a vulnerable human body in a metal bucket, you know?
I mean, do you think it's like a, you know, he is a man of flesh and faith, and like as he goes through the trials of fire, like I'm just thinking back to when we played Rogue Trader, like right at the start, you get cut off by like this fire, and like, this vision of Theodora appears, and like Argenta's like, "No, just believe in the Emperor and walk through the fire, and you won't be hurt."
Right.
So it's just, it's more like, okay, he's not just his armor, but he's also just like his faith protects him.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing about, like, again, I grew up in a very religious household. So this concept of like protected from harm because you believe in God is not a new thing to me.
Right.
But I was always like, so why did it hurt him at all? Like, it does a ton of damage to him, to the point that at the end, Euphrates like, "You look dead, sir." Right?
Right, but he's
So
still,
like,
he's
if
still
the
like,
faith protects you, then how about it protects you instead of...
It kept him from dying. That's
I know.
The important
I
bit.
know.
You should be grateful to live as a melted stub of an Astartes.
Yeah, and I mean, there are so many stories of that too. Again, in the religion I was raised in, like, this person was in a car accident, and they're in a coma, but they're alive because God protected them. And it's like, yeah, but
Did they?
coma, like, this is not good. It's like, but they're alive. It is like, yeah, I always had problems with that. So
like
I'm just saying, if I'm going to devote myself to a god, I'd like a little better of a protection plan, is all I'm trying to say.
Your faith in the Emperor protected you, and now you're alive to be interred into a dreadnought. Where you'll have to be kept in, like, stasis and asleep, because if you're just awake too long, you'll go crazy.
Is that what happens to Garro? They dump him in a dreadnought?
They don't dump him in a dreadnought, no.
Okay, good.
No.
That would be sad. I would not like that.
No, that would suck. But yeah, that's Garro done.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else we want to talk about? And
Not
there's
really.
a whole lot of Garro realizing over time that like working for Malkador isn't necessarily working for the God Emperor.
Right.
Because at first he's pretty sure they're on the same page, but like as the story goes on, he's like, Malkador's got his own stuff going on here.
Yeah, basically he's realizing that Malkador does a lot of shady stuff for the Emperor, but he's doing it for the Emperor, but he's doing it explicitly for the Emperor so the Emperor doesn't have to know about it, you know?
Uh-huh.
Or
Right,
like,
right.
and it's like, this is definitely for the Imperium, but it's not like as straightforward as I'm used to. It's, again, it's the whole theme of like, his armor is now gray, he's a gray knight, he's a, you know, what he's
Knight
doing.
errant.
Yeah, all of his doing is not black and white anymore. It's grey. Aren't we clever? And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you are a little clever. I'll give it to you, James Wall. I'm not gonna deny it.
Oh man, I love the story when they find this like, oh, yeah, we didn't talk about her. Like there's this low-level worker in the administratum who is in how do you say that word? Eidectic memory?
I, 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 eidetic?
Is
Eidetic?
it eidetic?
Yeah, I have
I'm okay with that.
Alright.
Anyway, which just means you remember everything you ever see or hear or
Right.
experience.
Eidetic.
And she uncovers this incredibly sophisticated, sneaky siphoning off of resources to somewhere.
Right.
Like ships are disappearing and food is disappearing and weapons are disappearing. And she's like, it's the forces of heresy. They're stealing from us. They're setting up a base and they're going to take us down. And Garro gets mixed up on it and he's like, yeah, it's the forces of heresy. And they find it on a moon orbiting Jupiter?
Yeah.
Saturn?
What's the moon
I don't
called?
remember.
It's Titan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Titan is the moon of Saturn. Yeah.
Saturn. Okay. So yeah. So they find this huge like Forge World setup type thing, and there are ships and there are men coming in and there are weapons and there are servitors everywhere. And he's like ready to blow this thing up. And then Malkador's like, hey, this is my stuff. And Garro's like, what?
Right.
Oh, it's so good. And Garro's like, why are you stealing from the Imperium? And Malkador's like, I have sneaky plans. That's all I ever do. Sneak, sneak, sneak. Plan, plan, plan.
Sneaky plans, yes.
Yeah.
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 So
Malkador's fun.
that's one of those things that's like, okay, I see what they're doing here. And they're just setting up the fact that the Grey Knights chapter of Astartes in 40k, their home base is Titan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just effectively, is it just Space Marines from heretical legions who have abandoned them?
No. So, after it's kind of wibbly wobbly on like how it actually happened, but Malkador, being the potent psyker that he is, actually like puts Titan in like a space-time bubble, and like the Horus Heresy, like Horus's main fleet arrives, Titan isn't there, the Heresy's over, Titan comes back, right? And when they do, they're somehow codex compliant after Gulliman writes the book and splits up all the chapters. They're like, hey, suddenly we're a chapter of Space Marines. And their gene seed is referred to as the Emperor's gift, and it is, in theory, a gene seed that is tied to the Emperor rather than any of the Primarchs.
Interesting.
What I will also say is that they're all psychers, so you have to be a psyker to be a Grey Knight in 40k. So maybe they're actually just like Thousand Suns or something? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's psychers from all different legions, but
Right, but they're the only one that they're all psychers, and like
yeah.
the Grey Knights are all psychers.
Yeah.
But officially, they're not any of the like. They're not just Ultramarines, and they're not a mix. Even though the Knights Errant at the moment are clearly a mix. There's a Ultramarine. There's a World Eater. You know, there's a Death Guard and Garro himself, and they like become like the first Grand Masters of the chapter. But I don't believe they like spread their gene seed. Like, I think they get their gene seed from somewhere else, is what's in other books. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they're a legion then?
No, they're a chapter.
They're a chapter
In
under...
in 40K, they're a chapter of Space Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a legion.
Under?
Under what?
They're just an independent chapter?
All the chapters are independent. In
Oh.
40K, Gulliman says, "Hey, look, we can't have a single person walking around with entire legions anymore. Like, look at what Horus did. There's way too much a concentration of power. Let's break this up into chapters." All the chapters in 40K are independent, right? And only their chapter master really gets to, like, say where they go. Gulliman returning, he gets a bit of sway as Imperial Regent, right? But, like, you know the Dawn of Fire book that you read, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 2 books after that. It's Gulliman going to the Space Wolves and being like, "Hey, I bring you Primaris Marines," and they're like, "Fuck off, Gulliman,"
Yeah.
because they're like, "You're the Legion Breaker. We don't like you." And like the Space Wolves never really broke up into separate legions. They're kind of like, they had enough for about 13 chapters, and they kind of work as 13 chapters, but they're all still just like one big chapter, essentially, right?
Right. Okay, that's fair.
But like officially, if you want the Space Marines to do a thing, you gotta go and petition them to do it, and they can just be like, "Nah."
Just collectively decide no.
But just the chapter master can be like, "Nah, I don't think that's worth it. I think it's not worth the Marines for the Gade."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's Garro, I guess.
That's Garro. What are we reading
happened
next?
to Garro?
Yeah.
We know now.
Well, I mean, the book ends with like and maybe Garro was the first martyr of the new faith. And I'm like, okay, this is clearly written after he died, but he did not die in this book.
No, it was very weird to do that. Yeah, Cinderman. Cinderman's like, he's the first martyr for my belief system. And it's like, but he's alive. Like, I know that demon was like, "I see your death." Mm-hmm. And Garro's fun because he's like, sure, maybe the visions of the future are true, but like, I'm going to do everything I can to stop it. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and I guess he did devote himself to protecting Euphrates.
Right.
Yeah.
That is true. Yep.
Which is interesting because Euphrates is in Imperial custody at the moment. So.
Yeah, but we know Horus is coming. Like, she's going to be
Yeah.
invaded forever.
Yeah. True.
Right. So what are we reading next? I think Vengeful Spirit.
Okay.
I think the reason why I wanted to do this one was it involved Molech, which the last book we read it mentioned a couple times, despite being before it on the flowchart, which was annoying.
That is annoying.
Path of Heaven, yeah. Path of Heaven mentioned that like Horus did a thing at Molech, and I was like, okay, what leads into Vengeful Spirit? Garro. So we read that, and now we can go into.
Awesome. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
It does appear to be a anthology right before it as well, though. I hope that's not important. Yeah. Oh well. Cool. Vengeful
All right.
Spirit.
Is it anime times?
Yeah, anime. Let's talk anime.
Okay.
Let's talk the animes.
All right. So too many losing heroines.
Yes. Machine.
So I'm caught up.
Okay, excellent.
I think there's 6 episodes
There
out
is.
at this point.
I think an episode came out yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. So I watched that.
Okay.
What I want to say about this is there is this plot line that's introduced where it's like our main character, our, tall glass of lukewarm water who has no personality, kind of has a thing for blue hair protagonist girl.
Kind of does.
Right?
Kind of does, kind of doesn't. Like, I don't think he knows.
Right.
I don't think he knows that he does.
Right. And I was like, oh no, they're going to do this whole stupid unspoken love thing and it's going to be annoying and awkward.
Uh-huh.
And then they're like, actually, no, we're not going to do that. They just both agree to be friends and that's it.
Uh-huh.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
Gone. There will be every once in a while, maybe a look or maybe a thing that's between them, but like they don't harp on it and they don't talk about it and no one's angsty about it. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm so glad this is how we're handling this. I was very pleased.
Oh, good.
Okay, because I'm just like, that is such a trope in stories like this.
Uh-huh.
And I thought they were going to just lean into it. And they just kind of, like an airplane, like they touched down on it and then they were like, and we're off.
So I really like the scene that you're talking about. Is like she thinks he's gonna ask her out, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Will you be my friend?" And he's like, "We're already friends, dude." It's great.
Well, no, they simultaneously say, he says, will you be my friend? And she goes, I only think of you as a friend. And then they both take a beat and go, oh. It's really good.
It's good. Did that annoy you when it's like the next episode? They're like, "Hey, I think what's his face is cheating on his girlfriend with Lemon. Will you go and spy on him?" And then they're like, "Oh, the guy with the glasses who likes to read or whatever is like, oh, don't worry. I know you like that blue-haired girl. We can set you up." And he's like, "Oh, please, really, no." Like,
well, and he kind of has to go along with it because he doesn't want to say, we were spying on you at your girlfriend's behest. Which he probably should have just done, honestly.
Honestly, not the worst thing you could have said there, I think.
Right. And continuing the trend of every female character in the show is quirky and weird and out there in some way. Like, Glasses Guy's girlfriend seems pretty normal at first, but like she's tracking with GPS. Like, she's nuts.
Yeah. We did finally get a normal female character there in
Grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma.
Who's just
Lemon's grandma.
Stay over. We'll get sushi. It'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, classic like grandma magic stuff. Like, I wasn't anticipating 5 strangers to show up at my house today, but here's a giant spread of food for dinner. No big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that he asked, like, "Oh, do you get lonely living up here by yourself in the mountains?" She's like, "Nah, I've got the internet. It's fine."
Yeah. She's like, I used to, but then we got the internet.
Right.
And I'm like,
fair enough.
Are you on Facebook getting bad political ideas, Grandma? What are you doing?
She's playing Farmville, that's all.
Probably. Good call. Man, Farmville. I used to do Farmville.
You used to play Farmville? When was the last time you looked at your farm, Falcon? It's probably everything overgrown and weeds everywhere, and I don't know what you do in that game besides
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't looked at it since probably the year 2010, I'd say. It's been a while. Been a while. Anywho. Yeah, so then there's this whole dramatic scene where Lemon's trying to be a good friend to childhood best friend Crush Man. And she's trying to be like, no, like you should be with your girlfriend. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm not going to be dramatic about anything. And
but
then
you gotta
she,
think of her first. Right?
yeah,
You can't, like, cause they're like, oh, we'll go into this like auditorium or whatever and watch this presentation. Why don't you sit with us, Lemon Chan, and let Lukewarm and Blue Hair, they can sit next to each other and they can hang out by themselves, because he's trying to set them up, and he's like, no, like, I'm not going to sit with you and your girlfriend. You've got to think about her. You know, I'm not going to let the man I fell in love with, you know, not put his girlfriend first. You got to be better than that. And then everyone goes, huh?
And everybody's brain goes, love? And Lemon does not pick up on it at first. She's just like, yep, I'm doing the right thing by everyone. And then it goes ka-chunk and falls into place. And she's like, oh, and just runs off. So then childhood friend Smart Glasses Guy wants to run after her. And his girlfriend's like, nope.
She's interpreting that as like, oh, she loves me. I need to go and, you know, have a conversation about that, and she very much feels like that's him choosing Lemon over her.
Yeah.
And so her asking her, please don't, just stay here. I get. I think
Yep.
it's fine.
I mean,
like I have no complaints about that scene.
no, me neither. I think that's totally reasonable. I mean, it's understandable for her to act that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little possessive. I mean, what do they say? If you love someone, let them go. Like, they'll come back, you know?
Sure, but this is already a person who's like tracking her boyfriend with GPS.
She's not in that mind space, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. And it's really good, too. So then our main character, tall glass of lukewarm water, runs after Lemon. He's like, well, someone's got to run after her. This is how this...
Right.
He's a little genre savvy, right?
A little bit.
A little bit of him knows what he's in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he runs after her, and Lemon's waiting for the bus. He's just like bailing on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, so how's that story for literature club going? She's like, seriously? Like, I just did that, and you're going to ask me about my literature project? Like, what does she say? She's like, a better man would come up with a funny story to take my mind off of what just happened.
Right.
And he's like, I am intentionally written to be pretty dense and incapable of being that suave.
Well, that's the thing. He's trying. He's like, I need something to break the ice. He's just not capable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just fails miserably is all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, good. I mean, yeah, not a whole lot to say about characters actually doing anything in like the next episode that happened. So it's like, okay, they go stay at Lemon Chan's grandma.
Yeah.
The Lemon Chan seems fine. She's not like breaking down. Lukewarm water guy is tricked into staying the night when everyone else was like, yeah, we're just gonna like pack overnight bags anyway and like force our way to staying overnight. And he's like, that's rude. I don't have any clothes. And he's like, let grandma take care of it.
Magic grandma.
Yeah. So that's good show. It's funny. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, there's just good moments. Yeah. Like at the dinner at the grandma's house, Komari, the stuttering one's like,
I've never tried.
Yeah. It's like eel or something. Yeah. So I mean, just little character moments like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. And then I like the moment too where Komari and the vice president of literature club are trying to figure out like what condiments are tops and bottoms in their homosexual relationships.
Right. They've decided that somehow left means top, because if you write them left to right in Japanese,
if you write top bottom,
bottom, it'll say left and right. It's like a way that the kanji or the hiragana works out or something. Right? it's a joke that really only works if you understand the language. And like they explain it, but it's like, okay, sure, I guess I'll just take your word for it. But having like these conversations, trying to figure out if it's plum jam versus curry sauce.
Yeah, it's like random stuff in this food market they're hanging out in. Which one's top and which one's the bottom? And so they're like, we don't want people to know we're loud tops and bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
So they call it left and right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're getting really worked up about this and like using terms that they probably figure out what you're talking about pretty quickly, guys. Yeah, but again, it's just keeping with the theme that like the female characters are like the demented, perverted ones. None of the dudes aren't doing this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And honestly, they're boring for it. Like, again, I don't think the show is trying to be like women bad. I think they're just like women interesting.
Yeah.
And they have their own characters, and they're more fun characters as a result.
Yeah. Have you heard of the show called My Dress Up Darling?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen any of it?
Reddit loves that show. So I've seen panels and clips and stuff. I know what it is.
There is a clip of when it's like episode 2 or 3 where they like the main character, the dude, and the chick from it, like terrible with their names.
Sure. I know who you're talking about.
Like walking out of ramen, and like there's people waiting in line to go in, and one of them's like, "Oh, look, a high school couple. God, that must be nice. Here I am just stuck in work,
Yeah.
getting ramen, and she's just like eavesdropping on their conversation, and the entire premise of the show is he's making her cosplay outfits, but the
Right.
first cosplay outfit she wants is from like a porn game. And so she's like, you have to play the game to understand the character, and like you can get to know, and that'll help to like design the clothes. Like you really get a feel for the character and like what kind of fabric you should buy. And so they're just like publicly walking down the street, being like, "So where are you up to in?" It's called like Slippery Girls 2, and he's like, "Oh, I just got to the bit where the main protagonist is standing in the school assembly and can't stop ejaculating, and everyone in line is just like, what the fuck?" And she's like, "Yeah, I love that bit." It very much reminded me of the girls are the freaks,
Yeah. Yeah. Which is true. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, it's not untrue for women to have as many opinions on things like that as guys. They're just rarely written to be that way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Societally, they're supposed to keep any indication they're that way quiet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to see that gender roles being brought closer to equality in 2024. I appreciate it.
Especially being like written from a Japanese perspective, which is much more conservative on those kinds of things, I feel. So
Agreed.
2 thumbs up. Marketing.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, Japan is slowly bringing itself forward in some of those areas.
Yeah.
Like my sister was telling me about a reality TV show in Japan that she watches where they put a bunch of single gay dudes in a house.
Okay.
And like the goal is to like pair off. And like if you pair off and like last for 3 months, you get like a cash prize or something. But she's like, it's like the second ever like reality TV show in Japan that involves same-sex anything. So like, yeah, I mean, they're dragging their feet, but they're getting there eventually.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. And she was like, there's this really cute half Korean Japanese guy there, and people don't seem to like him very much. And I'm like, Japanese people are horribly racist. That might be something they might drag their feet on even more than like LGBTQ stuff.
Right.
She's like, oh.
I'm trying to work out, is Japan... the Japanese people, on average, I don't want to like say all of them, obviously, but are they more racist to Western foreigners like you or me, or are they going to be more racist to like South Koreans and Chinese who they've had long and complex historical events with, right? It's like,
yeah, I think there's real hatred for Koreans and Chinese, and I think any racism towards Westerners is more like stereotyping them, and you know what I mean?
Probably. Like, there's definitely a lot of more historical baggage over like disputed islands with South Korea, over like
a lot of stuff that happened in World War II. Yeah,
right. But like things that, that's with Japan, China, yeah. But it's but things that happened in World War II, I think the Westerns get to have a look in there.
That's an excellent point. Yeah. No, you know what? I really think they like Americans more than they like Koreans and Chinese. Which, as you have inferred, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Why is that? That's crazy.
There's some problems with the Japanese education system where it's like they're not taught a lot about what they did in China in World War II. Like, they just fundamentally don't know. So like maybe culturally there's just a lot of baggage, but they can't, from an education standpoint, hide the fact that there were 2 cities that got bombed into, and it's I was gonna say like oblivion, but like those cities are still there. You can go to Hiroshima or Nagasaki and it's like, okay,
there are memorials there.
There are
like
memorials.
They're not hiding it.
They're not hiding it, and it's like, but they're still cities, right? Like,
yeah,
they're not radiated dead zones,
right,
which would be even harder to hide if they wanted to.
True,
but they're not.
No, they're not. I don't. Why don't Japanese people hate Americans?
It's an excellent Google.
It is. Google's AI says Oh, it didn't have an answer. Then AI overview is not available for this search. Yes, I bypassed it. Quora. How about Quora? Okay, so this answer, right? After World War II, the Japanese people expected the Americans to subjugate Japan and make it an occupied territory. Because that's how things had been done in all of history. And Japanese people had done that to other countries a whole bunch already, right?
Right, and then you didn't.
Right, and then simply didn't.
Uh-huh.
So basically, they expected the worst from America, and then we weren't. And they were like, hey!
You guys met the bare minimum they love you for.
Yeah, we cleared their very low bar.
Not only did you guys not, like, colonize them, but, like, you guys moved into, like, the Korean War, and, like, you established economic ties with Japan as well. So I think it's a little more than just, like, you didn't invade. It's like, okay, you guys really kind of gave them a hand to put themselves back together afterwards as well.
Yep. That's what we did with Germany, too. So again, German-American relationship is really good at the same time. And, yeah, I mean, I already said this, but this was not done. The entire history of warfare world over is you defeat your enemy, you take their land, it's yours now. And for America to be like, we'll let them keep it. We'll stabilize it. We'll build up their economy.
I mean, I don't think it's the first time that's ever happened, but it is certainly the largest and most recent. Like, Rome was like, yeah, we can take England, we could take Scotland, we're going to beat their army, we're just going to put up a wall and lock them in, you know? They left them alone, and that didn't ingratiate a lot of love with the Celts into Romans, but, like, they did, they left half the country there for them,
That's true. That is true. That is true. This also says that America and Japan found a common enemy, the threat of the spread of communism.
Right.
So Japan hates communism, especially China. And America's like, communism bad. So, like, they totally allied over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it's just a lot of the expectations were so low that, like, America's reputation totally overcame the fact that they nuked 2 separate Japanese cities.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy stuff. History.
Super crazy.
Truth is always much stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is there any other anime you wanted to talk about?
Tower of God continues.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter continues to be mad that Rachel's not receiving her comeuppance.
Fair. Yeah.
I'm trying to let her know that I'm on episode 582 and Rachel still has not received her comeuppance.
Oh. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh. That makes me feel good inside. Good grief.
It's interesting. She kind of just turns into like a low-level...
Sorry, you cut out that one.
She just becomes a low-level antagonist.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That kind of just like shows up every once in a while, is involved in whatever main storyline is happening, does something bad, and then like disappears again. It's weird. It is very weird how...
Yeah, that's...
And every time she shows up, every comment on the webcomic is just like, fuck Rachel, like for pages.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway. And it's more power of friendship stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he makes these new friends, and one of his bosses is like, you got to get rid of these people. And he tries to, like, scare them off by being just like, this guy's dangerous. You don't want to be around him. But they're like, no, Bam's a good guy. We know he's good. We want to stay with him. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's Bam.
That is Bam.
That is Bam. He's developing his own army accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I've been reading more, and I do feel like it's moving towards an end game.
It's getting
That's good.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, I look forward to it. In season 7.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, good. That it?
I think that's it. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna read the Vengeful Spirit.
Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah. Kindle keeps being like, you're getting achievements for reading. And I'm like, what? Do I get discounts on more books? And they're like, no. It's like, all right. I don't care then. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, good. That is going to be it from us today then. This has been Somicron and Falcon Paladin with another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, streamed live at twitch.tv/Somicron on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on where you are in the world. It's right on the line there. Also, VODs show up on Twitch, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Somicron. You can support us by going to patreon.com/Somicron and pledging there, or by buying merch at falconpaladin.store. You can get a mug or a t-shirt or a hoodie or a hat. There's a lot of stuff out there too, so check it out if you're interested. We will be back next week with more Warhammer and anime and maybe some StarCraft, but probably not. So thanks again for being here, and until then, you take care of yourself.
Bye.